Hi, this is Margaret. Welcome to Class 1 for Unit 1 of the Paleo-Hebrew letters. We're going to look at 4 letters today. We're going to do some exercises and learn some words. So our first letter is Aleph, Bet, Gimel, and Dalet. So we'll start taking a look at those. Aleph represents the number 1. It is a vowel. Aleph makes a ha sound, and sometimes it is not sounded at the beginning of a word. It is silent, okay? Here we had the Eberith and the Aramaic. They look quite different. It's important, though, that you get to know what the Aramaic looks like, because you're going to see everything in modern Hebrew or Aramaic, and you're going to need to convert that in your thought process to what it looks like in Eberith. So you need to be aware. And on your letter chart card, you will actually have it right there so you can compare. So the meaning of Aleph is ox. So every letter in the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet has a meaning of its own. We don't have that in English. A doesn't mean anything in English except A, and it has a sound. But in the Paleo-Hebrew, Aleph, which represents the letter A, it has a meaning, and it's ox. And then its further meanings are strength and leader. So it's a concept, right? When you think about an ox, it is strong, it's the leader, it leads the way. So you get the kind of the meaning of the word Aleph. Here are some words that go with the letter Aleph, and we are going to be on page 6 of the workbook. Our first letter is, our first word is the word Eretz. In the book on page 6, you're going to see the number 776 next to the word Eretz, and that number represents the number in the Strong's Concordance. So if you want to look this up online, you go into the Bible Hub or Blue Letter Bible, you go into the Strong's Concordance, put in the letter 776, and you're going to get Eretz, and it means earth. And you're going to get the Aramaic spelling, which has to be translated into the Paleo. But you're going to learn that today, so that's okay. So the next word that we have is Abba, means father. And then we have Ashar, which means to go straight. Now we're ready to look at Bet. And this makes the B sound, B. It also represents the number 2. Now we're looking at the Eberith, the Paleo-Hebrew Eberith, and the modern Hebrew Aramaic. The meaning of Bet is house or in. So when you think about a house, you're either in it or out it, but in the house is what you think of. You can think of a tent. You can think of protection. You can think of family, but house. Bet means house. So we're going to look at some words. The first word we're looking at on page 7 is Bain, which means sun. Bara, which means created or to shape. And Boker, which means morning. You might say to somebody, Bokata, and you're meaning good morning. You'll learn that as we go. Now we're going to jump back to page 4, and I would like you to practice writing the form of the letters. You are going to start on the right side of the page and move toward the left, which is totally opposite of what we do, totally opposite of what your mind is expecting to do, but you're going to start at the right and you're going to move toward the left. So you'll find the way to write these letters. I like to go down and across, kind of making that half triangle, and then put the straight line through to complete the Aleph. So you'll find what works for you. Again, in the bet, I will make the half triangle and then bring the line down around. But as you practice, you'll find your way of how you want to do that. The next thing that we have to look at, you're going to find on page 6 and 7 in the workbook. And we're going to look at some words. So again, Aleph is a vowel. And we talked about the word Eretz. And we're going to look down below here. And you're going to practice writing the word Aleph, Resh, Tazi. And here you see them written. Okay? You can see them written there. Now, some of these letters you have not had yet because we're just in the very first letter, but when you look at your letter study chart, you can see them. If you don't have your study chart, make sure that you have your address in your profile and then go below the player and just leave me a message to send you the card and I will send it to you. Our next word is Abba, and that is father, and that's spelled Aleph, Bet. Right to left. Now we're going to go down to Ashar, which is to go straight. We have the Aleph, the Shin, looks like a W, and the Resh. Moving over to page 7, we have the Beth. So first word that we have is Bain. It is spelled Beth Noon. Next we have the word Bara, and that is spelled Bet, Resh, Aleph. Our last word is Boker. It is spelled Beth, Kop, Resh. You'll learn all these letters. Just try to form them as best you can. It will get better. Now, we're going to move on to the next letter, which is Gimel. It makes the G sound, G, G, Gimel. And it's also the number 3. This is what we look like between Eberith and Aramaic. The meaning of the letter Gimel is camel. It also carries the understanding of foot, pride, self-will, something lifted up. All of these words describe a camel and what it does and its personality. So you can see how they kind of get the meanings for the letter. Okay, we're going to look at some words on page 12 for Gimel. Our first word is Gan for garden, Gaal for redeemed or ransom, and Gar for nomad or foreigner. We're going to hop back now to Dalet, which is on page 8 and 9. So Dalet makes the D sound, and it also represents the number 4. Here we have the difference between the Erebeth and the Aramaic. Dalet carries the meaning of the word door. Pathway, way of life, to move in, into or out. All of that kind of goes with door. When you think about door, you're going to go on a different path. You're going to go through the door. You're going to go someplace different. You can use it when you make a decision. You're either going to go through the door and make the decision in a positive way, or you're going to stay behind and not go. Could be considered a negative. Either way, right? But you're going to go through the door or you're going to stay behind the door. So it makes your path go one way or the other. Now we'll look at some words, and those will be found on page 13 in your workbook. So our first word is Dean, which is a judge. Damar, which is to weep. And Dekuk, which is way or path. On page 13, you will see the phonics. I am not a phonics queen. I did not have phonics in grade school, and I am not good at it. So I am doing the best I can. When you look at how these things are phonics, the phonics of the word, you may pronounce it somewhat differently, and that's okay because you're probably right and I'm probably wrong. That's just, it's just one of those problems with me, and I'm sorry, but you do have the pronunciation there, and I know you'll do a great job with it. All right, so we're going to go now. We're going to kind of go back again to page 10 and 11. And there you're going to practice the form of the letters. Now remember, we begin on the right and we move toward the left. And you can complete that form at your leisure. But do complete it because you need to practice the form of the letters. When you make the form of the letter and you say the letter to yourself, it's going to be easier and quicker for you to recognize it and to know what someone is saying. Because what happens is that people will be teaching something and they'll say a Hebrew word and they'll spell it for you. And you're like, okay, what's a gimbal? What's an aleph? What's a bet? But the more you practice it, you're going to have a visual in your mind what those letters look like and what they stand for. So you need to do that. All right. Let's look at our Unit 1 practice skills. We're going to have a little bit of fun here. I hope you're going to have fun. We're going to look at page 16. And on this page, we'd like you to draw a line to match the letter on the left side of the page to its sound on the right side of the page. So what does aleph sound like? You draw your line to match that up. The next letter is bet. That's kind of a giveaway on what that sound is. And the next letter is gimel. Match it up with a little flower on the right side of the page. And then dalet. As you move over to page 17, remember the order of the letters, because we want you to take the letters that are given to you at the top of the page and put them in their proper order inside the boxes and begin on the right side of the page. So the first letter that we looked at was, okay, and that will go into the first block. And then our second letter, third letter, and fourth. The answers to these are in the back of the book. Moving on to page 17 and 18, we have some little sound clouds, and they are saying, I am bet, I am gimbal, I am dalet, I am aleph. And we would like you to print the form of the letter in the block given. For this next exercise on page 18, we have the letters for you there, and each one of them has a sound. It has a main meaning. And we want you to write the main meaning of the paleo icon in the space provided. So what did aleph represent? What did bet represent? What did gimbal represent? And what did dalet represent? Next, on page 19 and 20, we have a word search. So the first part of the word search is to complete the data form. So the first word is Eberith, and we want you to write the pictorial letters in the space provided. And I also want you to put what that word means in English in the space provided. So you'll work through that sheet, and when you are completed, I want you to come back to the word search, and I want you to find the pictorial lettered words in the word search. They are there. I promise you're there. I put them there myself, and the answers to these are in the back of the book. But don't look. Work through this because it's going to imprint it upon your memory. So do work through it, and when you get done, look in the back of the book to see the answers. Okay, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for being with me for this first unit as we studied the first four letters, aleph, bet, gimbal, and dalet. If you have any questions or comments, if you'll put them in the section below, I will see them and I will answer you. Also, remember, we do have our community chat. You can go into the community chat and you can write your comments and questions there for Unit 1, Class 1, in the Letters 1 chat. You will see a couple of different chats there. There's Letters 1, there's grammar, there's vocabulary. But if you're studying the letters right now, as we are, you want to keep all of your comments regarding the letters in the Letters chat. And you guys can talk to each other there. I'm so glad to provide that chat for you to communicate with each other and get to know each other. So I will see you for the next lesson. Thank you so much. Have a great day.